Now,
So I will not get into many details about the presentation of the legislation. It's not the purpose of that, but I've anyway prepared a couple of slides just because it will be used in the core part of my presentation about data. And so you might well know the EPBD recast directive and the different features it has in. And I think some improvement of this directive, recast directive, is about the energy performance certification of building improvement, in particular the quality control that have been implemented under Article 18 of the directive with Annex 2, where a statistically significant share of all the EPCs issued each year should be quality controlled. Of course, the Energy Efficiency Directive play also a huge role in the building sector with this 3% renovation for central government, but also for the long-term renovation strategies that have to be developed by every member state, thinking about developing financing for the renovation of the building stock, the existing building stock, where to design this roadmap and to monitor these roadmaps in practice, some data are obviously needed at national level. This is the general timeline of the Energy Efficiency Directive, and the main part of related to buildings are due for the 3% renovation rate by the 1st of January, where some knowledge about the central government building stock is needed to really make the rollout of this 3% renovation obligation. And also the long-term renovation strategy are due by end of April to next year. So the way we see energy efficiency in the building sector is represented in this slide. The energy performance of building is only one element of the full play a role in the energy efficiency in the building sector, but as one element, one ingredient. The others are the energy performance of building products that are used in the buildings, but also downstream, it's important to look at how the building is used in practice, and some element regarding demand response is also something relevant. So at the moment, we have mainly some data collection about the energy use in building, which is monitoring really the energy efficiency of the building sector, taking into account the energy performance of the building, but also taking into account the use of the actual use of the building, and to really properly monitor the energy performance of building sector. And the role played by the improvement of the building as such, so the improvement of the envelope and the improvement of technical building systems, some new data collection and so on are also needed. So that's what we expect. So the main challenge we have for the future is for member states, but also at European level, to plan and monitor a successful shift toward the NZEB and nearly zero energy building level for new buildings, so that we monitor that the cost optimal level is moving slowly but surely to this nearly zero energy building standard by that time. But also we have to be careful about potential negative side effects due to this level of performance. For example, the indoor air quality, so that the rollout of the nearly zero energy building by that time is really successful in practice. Second main challenge is to design and monitor the long-term renovation strategy roadmap that are laid down by the Energy Efficiency Directive, so that we can really ensure the compliance with the requirement, because the EPBD is only asking member states to set energy performance requirements for buildings. But if there's no compliance with these requirements in practice, it can be also it can also be problematic for the improvement of the building stock. that is planned, and also to monitor the building performance as such, as I already said, to look at the role played by the energy performance of building directive for the energy efficiency targets. We have, to that respect, some opportunities laid down by the energy performance of building. In particular, we have this mandatory independent control system that is laid down by Article 18 and Annex 2, where member states have to set in place and something to select and verify a random selection of at least a statistically significant percentage of all the EPCs and that are issued annually. So that statistic relevancy can also play a role, and the obligation also foresee that all the energy certificates should be made available on request for the people that will quality control the certificate. But of course, all these certificates include some relevant information in terms of performance, but also in terms of potential, the advice that are proposed by the certification body, and these advice are also assessed from the financing point of view, because all these advice have to be cost effective. So there's also some financing information there. For some member states, they have made the choice to implement central database, which is not an obligation but of course which is very a practical way to make this quality control, and of course this national central database can play a role in data collection for the building sector. So what we need actually is, in terms of data, some monitoring about compliance of the building in practice compared to the energy performance requirements that are set in place at national level. Some additional data on the energy performance of the building stock. So as I already said, in addition to the data that we have more commonly on the energy use in the building sector, so that can be an important source of information to support the financing, access to loan repayment potential from energy cost savings, and also help member states to have the best policy mix between the improvement of the building performance as such, but also versus the potential improvement or behavioral change in the buildings. And also some data collection about potential side effects of monitoring, so that we ensure that the indoor climate is ensured at national level. Indoor air quality is good, in particular in the nearly zero energy building as such. So that's the end of my presentation, and happy to answer a question later on.